FBA or FBM? Which one's right for you? Welcome to AMZ Unlocked. I am Kimberly Locke, and today we are going to answer those questions for you. What is the difference between Amazon FBA and Amazon FBM, and which one is right for you? Let's start with the basics. So FBA means fulfilled by Amazon. FBM, fulfilled by merchant. So in each of these two scenarios, different people are going to be responsible for getting your product from wherever it's being stored to your customer. Let's take a look at FBA first, and then we'll talk about how it works and what some of the benefits and drawbacks are to the whole process. So with Amazon FBA, your inventory is going to live in an Amazon fulfillment center, and when an order is received, it's going to be processed by Amazon. They're going to pick it and pack it, put a label on the packaging, and cover that last mile fulfillment, sending it out to your customer. They'll also handle part of the customer support, such as processing any requests for returns or issuing any refunds. Let's take a look at the benefits of using FBA. As I described, Amazon is going to cover a lot of the heavy lifting for you as far as the picking and packing and shipping and handling any returns and refunds. But a really big benefit to being FBA is that you are automatically Prime eligible. This means that your customers are going to be able to get 1 to 2 day shipping, and your listings are going to get preferential treatment by the Amazon algorithm compared to FBM listings. Now, this model is amazing and takes care of a lot of issues for sellers and makes it a very attractive model, but it's not without some drawbacks. Top of the list on those drawbacks is that there are going to be additional costs involved. For Amazon to cover all of that heavy lifting, they're going to need to be compensated. So there are going to be additional fees. You're already paying your seller fees. That's going to be no matter which model you use, FBA or FBM. And you're going to be paying your referral fee, or so far like a commission for all of the products that you sell. And that's going to be a percentage of the sales price. But when you're using FBA, they are also going to be charging the FBA costs, which is what covers all of that picking, packing, and shipping. There's also a little bit of loss of quality control because you can't get your hands necessarily on your inventory quickly to circumvent a potential problem. It's stored in an Amazon fulfillment center, and having it removed can be very expensive. As I mentioned, Amazon is going to cover a lot of the customer support for you and handle the returns and refunds, but that means you're at the mercy of their return policy, which can be very generous, especially around the Q4 holiday shopping period, when people can return things all the way to the end of January. So that can have a little bit of a hiccup for your sales bottom line if you're potentially going to be having returns come through all the way to the end of January. You also lose a huge aspect of customer contact. Amazon does cover a lot of the customer support, but buyers will still send messages that you do have to respond to within 24 hours. But it's very limited what you can say to them, what you can send to them to remain within Amazon terms of service and make sure that your listings and your whole account stays active. So you're losing that ability to personalize anything that goes along with the order when it's fulfilled. Before we move on, if you're getting any value out of this, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Now let's take a look at FBM and the benefits of using this over FBA. One of the first benefits is that you're not going to have to pay Amazon the fulfillment costs. Another big benefit is you're going to have a little bit more control over what you're able to send and how you could potentially personalize this for your customers. If it's a repeat customer, you may know some particular information about them. You'll know how many times they've ordered, and you could send a little something, a little bonus or a little handwritten note thanking them for being a repeat customer in with your packaging when you fulfill it. Having an FBM listing is also a great backup, and I mentioned this in this video if you want to check it out more. But having that FBM is a backup to if something goes wrong at Amazon. Q4 is a time when things can go wrong. Other things could happen. Your inventory could get stuck for whatever reason. And if you're able to fulfill it yourself, you're able to circumvent a lot of those problems with that FBM listing. Let's take a look at some of the drawbacks of fulfilled by merchant. Now, as we said, you're going to need to store that inventory somewhere you can get your hands on it to fulfill it. That could be at your house, or that could be at a warehouse. And that warehouse might actually be more expensive than putting it in an Amazon fulfillment center. Additionally, if you're having to store it all in your own location, and let's say you live in California, but your orders are being placed potentially from the East Coast, New York, Atlanta, Miami. When you go to send that, it's going to take a lot longer for it to get to a customer when you're fulfilling it versus FBA fulfillment, because during FBA fulfillment, Amazon will spread your inventory out in fulfillment centers all across the country so they can get that 1 and 2 day shipping to their prime customers. So it could cost more as far as warehouse fee. It's going to cost your customer service a little bit of a hit if it's taking longer to get to your customers. And it's going to cost you a lot of time. You have to actually go get that product, put it in packaging, print a label, put it on the packaging, take it to either the post office or UPS or FedEx, or pay to have it picked up by UPS or FedEx. All of these costs could add up to end up being more than the fulfilled by Amazon fulfillment fees. Not to mention the time that it's going to cost you. So it may sound cheaper at first, but you have to factor in all of those parts to make sure that it really is a cheaper as far as dollars, but also what about your time? How much is your time actually worth? Now, there's also the drawback that you're not automatically going to be Prime eligible, and that is going to depend on the shipping method you choose. You can apply to be Prime eligible as FBM, but it takes a little bit more work. So there we have it in a nutshell, FBA versus FBM. Which one do you think is right for you? Personally, I think there's way too much hassle. I think there's way too much cost involved, and there's way too much time involved in using the FBM model. I personally don't have the storage space in my home to store all of the inventory that I would place an order for, and I certainly don't want to have to be dashing off to a storage shed or another warehouse in my local vicinity to ship it out. So for me, FBA was an absolute no-brainer. But now you know the details, you know what's going to work for you, and you make the decision for your business based on the facts. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, share, subscribe, and ring the bell so you get notified of additional videos like this one in the future.